You're live?
Yeah, we're in. Hey, folks, for those that followed us, thanks for coming back. For those coming in, we are with Mina, the co-founder of Tracifier.
Hi, guys.
We are just going to run through what Tracifier is and then kind of dive into some more questions about like what it's doing. Audience, guys, please get stuck in. Use the ask a question box in the bottom right, and we can roll through from there. So Mina, if you want to share your screen, do you want to take us away and tell the world about Tracifier and how great it is?
Yep, absolutely. Let's give it a second. So you can see my screen.
We got you.
Cool. Thank you very much, Scott, for the intro. I just lost your video. I don't know if you're hearing me or no.
We've got you, Mina. I just turned it off so that people can concentrate on you.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much, Scott, for the intro. Let's discover about Tracifier and why Tracifier right now and what we're doing. Actually, with all the promises that hyper blockchain traceability solution, we still haven't seen a clear impact in our today's life, specifically in the food market segment. And Tracifier is actually here to offer a simple-to-use application and solution for food traceability and certificate verification. So day-to-day, we saw lots of fraud is happening in the market, and the fraud is really growing. Actually, the value of fraud, food fraud, is currently about $50 billion US, and food regulators in the market are trying to find a solution to reduce the amount of these frauded products and certificates in market. And unfortunately, I should say, like at the current time, food producers are losing about 5% of their annual growth revenue to those fraudulent activities. So, as you know, as one of the reasons of fraud in the market is disconnected supply chain network, which make it easy to fake the paper-based documents. So, companies trying to solve this problem by digitalizing their documents, their papers, but they're trying to use like cloud application in most of cases. But cloud are not always the best solution because these machines they cannot always talk with each other, so they're not connected. Therefore, they cannot bring the stakeholders together in a unified chain. So therefore, fraud going to be happen again. So in Tracifier, we try to solve those problems, and we're trying to bring certainty to the food supply chain process. In fact, Tracifier allows organizations to obtain and share information about the provenance of the product, like where is it come from, how was the testing process, transportation, and storage. And we try to reduce the risk of selling damaged and expired goods in market. Our strategy is to make sure that the data we are collecting is actually correct and it's not manipulated by anyone. And to do that, in Tracifier, we try to digitalize the collected data and turns the network of documents into smart contracts, which identifies the transferred record and make the corresponding action. So using blockchain technology in Tracifier really gives us the chance to be sure that the data we store is actually tamper-proof and it's not it cannot be changed afterward. It's really cool that we're using blockchain technology because it's really help us to scale up our business. Our solution will reduce about 40% processing costs for companies, which counts about $14 million US reduction on annual business costs for small and medium-sized companies. Like speed in communication, reducing cost in businesses will also bring about 30% more revenue for users of this kind of traceability application. So we start our journey in food traceability with analytical testing laboratories, and as you know, and as we discovered in our panel discussion, labs, are really at the core of supply chain process, and all the pre and post production activities are really dependent on their certification and testing result and their improvement that they are giving you the official go for next step. And as Attraction, we are proud to announce our partnership with Gallup Laboratories. They are the biggest private analytical laboratory in Europe. They have about 40% market share in Germany, 35% in Europe. And we expect to use Tracifier on about 20,000 Gallup certificates in next 6 months. So there is a big potential of growth in market. The market of food certificates is growing very fast, and in fact, it's really a good sign, which shows that regulators trying to bring more and more certainty and more security to the food market. And this also brings me to my next point, which an opportunity that laboratories bringing for us. In fact, laboratories are unlocking the supply chain network for us by connecting us to a community of stakeholders in supply chain, such as food producers, importers, retailers, store and manufacturer. So this also affects on our pricing strategy as well, which is to collaborate with lab and having a retail collaboration with them toward their suppliers. So our roadmap is to deliver key partnership at speed. 2020 was a fantastic year for us. We create a network around our application, and they're building our initial minimal working demo by end of this year. And we are planning to expand to other market segments and generate millions of revenues in the following years. And the team is really passionate and experienced in the food market. Together with Jayco, we generated millions of revenue by food manufacturing and export on past years. I should say Jayco is not only a fantastic food technologies and a great quality assurance manager, but also is my dear brother. We are also backbone by advisors with great experience in the technology and food market segment, which we got to know Joost and Yugen in this call today. And if you have any question about how Tracifier can help your business, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Meena.
Thank you.
Solid presentation. I love it. I think the good place to start is it's food traceability doesn't strike me as something that people grow up wanting as a problem to solve. Why are you working in this industry, and how did you get into it?
Yeah, actually, it's really an interesting question. I should say, food market is actually the initial door for my entrance to the business world. Actually, it's my part of my family business, production and transportation, logistics. This is part of I grew up in this area, and together with Jayco, we had we started 10 years ago with food with consultation to food manufacturers, to different companies, helping them to produce specifically for export to other international markets. So food is really important things. This is people will never ignore to consume that. And for me, it was always very important to do something specific to this market. And I saw at that time, which we were doing consultation and manufacturing with Jayco, there are so many middle hand in the market. There are in food segment, if any fraud happen, it's really dangerous. Not from the business side, it doesn't just bring economical value to companies, but also bring really dangerous risk to the health of end consumers. So first of all, as a person, as a young entrepreneur who do like to do different things, I try to focus in this market, and I should say since 2018. I started learning about blockchain technology and how this technology can bring value to business market. And then I said, okay, this is really a good match between my question all my time in my life, that how I can do things for this industry. And then I brought these two concepts together. I studied so much different use cases. And I should say I also learned a lot from Oracle. I get to know Oracle from 2019. You're part of Oracle startup program, and this Joost also helped me a lot learning about blockchain technology in traceability for supply chain. And then I should say seriously, we really had a laser focus on Tracifier, and saying, okay, now we are doing specifically in the food market, tracking certificates, tracking food food products, starting from laboratories. When I started my cooperation with Gallup Laboratory, end of the year 2019. So it was all like so many hands came to help. I was not alone. And together with Jacob, we learned a lot, we discovered a lot, and these other guys, Oracle, Gallup, and other also companies came and really trying helping us to make this idea to a reality. And now we're proud to say we are building our initial working demo, and we're gonna run it officially by end of 2020.
So it sounds like the stars aligned. All of these great partners sort of coalesced and came together. Is there anything else which makes like this a really good time to be doing Tracifier? Like we touched on the panel slightly about how like supply chain and blockchain's a bit old and jaded, but it sounds like everything's going in the right direction for you guys. So like, why now? Why is this the right time to take Tracifier into the world?
Yeah, actually, so from one side, you're discovering like the amount of fraud is really growing in the market year by year, and you cannot easily stop them because people are getting more and more smart to do bad things. And from another side, like there are so much regulation rules coming to enforcement and asking companies to follow this law and this regulation to reduce and to reduce the amount of fraud and to prevent that. And this is I think now it's a really right time because people are getting more aware. They're consuming this awareness. That's what's the detail of the product they're buying, where is it coming from. It's not just the food I'm eating, but I'm caring about the food I'm eating. Specifically in Germany, I should say, we are really value transparency, and this is one of the reasons that people here in Germany consuming mostly bio and organic products. So they're there, and they're also ready to pay more money about that. This is also one of the results of research, market research in the market that says about 72% of people are willing to pay more for brands and products who give more information about their products. Where is it coming from? Like, having more transparent details about the ingredients of everything of the product. And I think this growing awareness between end consumers put this impression in companies to apply new technology, moving toward that, and following this kind of regulation coming into enforcement, they are all like toward, okay, we are going to have more and more transparent supply chain process because we want to have that.
Right. So in a nutshell, it's a great time to be doing this. Is there anybody else moving in the market or alternatives? Like, where does Tracifier sit compared to everyone else in the world?
Yeah. So I should say there are so many cases currently are playing around traceability. They are playing around like they're picking a different part of supply chain. Supply chain is really, really a very big and very broad concept. You cannot say from the first, I'm covering every part of supply chain, but you're picking a specific part which you have access and resources there. So Tracifier is really in early stage, but we are growing very fast, and we are also getting more and more attention from market. And we are empowering our knowledge, our team, and our development. And most importantly, which is our specific USP, is the business network around our application. So a startup can grow for sure with internal team and development and a great product, but also with a great network, right? And we are specifically poor in B2B market segment. We are paying attention, and we are working currently in B2B segment rather than B2C. Currently, we are not touching end consumers, but also helping just businesses to have transparency between each other, to move documents and easily in a better way. there are other startups, but most of them also they're in the proof of concept level. Like most of them, most of companies, like they're in the proof of concept. They are trying to communicate these businesses to find really a matching point where they can say, okay, now from this point we can take advantage from blockchain technology, bringing traceability to our system. This is what our end consumer wants. So in our communication, this Gallup is really, I think it's really required, because any fraud in one certificate with really will tie to the entire supply chain. If no one detect that, it's like it will make damage to the last point, to the last end consumer. So we are trying to stop that, not to stopping, but to reduce. I mean, we cannot stop. Whatever we do, bad people do something different, right? Yeah, so we are seeing lots of potential in market for our project. There are lots of attention toward us. As a CEO, I'm getting so much connection, like requests, call, talk from different companies, and but we are seeing future very bright.
Yeah, it's a busy life, like tapping in through the network to expand into the different areas of the supply chain, right? And
absolutely.
Into the laboratories as your central point of trust within the system, like feels pretty decent. I got a couple of questions that have come in, Mina. So in from Henning, since a lot of food comes from third world countries, do you think that access to the internet might be an issue for your solution to work?
Yeah, actually, this is one of the major challenges in all traceability applications. You know, if you want to claim like we are tracking from farm to the fork, it's like a really big commitment. You need to be aware from all of challenges in between. One of them is like not having internet availability everywhere to the farmers, to the primary processors of these products. And absolutely this is one of challenge, but we try. The good things is we are a startup, right? And the startups are going everywhere, and this concept is really interesting, because big companies, like in this case, we had this collaboration with Oracle, who provide us with a great technology. Another side is we are also engaging with Google, with other big companies who can provide this availability for us. I think the key to win this challenge is about network with the right business partner, even in the local market, or international guys who have this availability to provide technology to that specific target group of like our target group who need to use our application. The farmers who take the pictures of things. For sure, we're trying to provide an offline and online solution for our application. But this is one of the big challenge. You know.
No, that's better. And just it's just popped up a couple of times, just for clarity. Could you just quickly run through who your sort of target customer base is initially, and the main benefit that they derive from using Tracifier?
Yeah, good question. So actually, at the current stage, we are collaborating with labs, and the users of and we are targeting the users of these as certificates. So we are currently at the backend side of supply chain, and not the front side, but the guys or the traceability application startups who are doing the front side can have integration with us to take information from our from the data we are dealing with. So the main target groups are like food importers and food manufacturers, who need to be sure that the products, that the goods they're receiving and they're working with is actually the correct product, and it's not like there is not some specific bacteria on that, it's like not contaminated. And we are trying to give assurance to the users in this segment, like these manufacturers, about the quality of the product is the correct one, via our cooperation with these labs. We are trying to release these certificates in distributed ledger, and which is simple proof, and no one can change that. As I said, one of the biggest challenges was like these goods are moving between companies, but with wrong certificate, right? Because yeah, so therefore the user of these lab are food producers, importers, and retail store.
Okay, so laboratories and producers, and their main benefits are like compliance in terms of de-risking fraud, and then also cost savings in how they actually operate.
So saving speed in the communication, and also speed, like all of them has a real-time data available, the document available between each other.
Gotcha, that makes sense. We are just coming up on time, Mina. If people want to reach out and find out more about what you're doing, what's the best way to get in touch? Is it
absolutely cool? Our website, I'm always behind that, and plus you can reach me with my email, mina.cordia@tracifier.com, plus LinkedIn. I think I'm really active in LinkedIn, and it's really great tools for me to communicate with people, asking any question which they have.